I've been down here past couple nights. I've been coming down here for a half hour to an hour at a time when I can find time, and been doing more cleaning. The gears are cleaning up nicely. This gear with the brass handle on it to pull out for engaging and disengaging cleaned up nicely. I don't see any evidence of anything on here that would cause this gear to like click into position. So I think it's just simply that once it's in position and running, I guess it doesn't want to come out on its own. There's a hole here. Initially I thought maybe that had something to do with, a pin or screw or something that was supposed to go in there to keep this from moving once it was locked in, but I can now see that lines up with a groove right here, an oil groove. So that's just, I'm pretty sure that's just another oiling point. There are no threads in that hole. Half nut cleaned up well. This is the pinion gear for the cross slide feed, and this is the lever off of the back gear assembly, and this cleaned up really well. And now you can clearly see the groove that's in here, and the groove has, at each end of the groove, there's a countersunk hole, and that's where the end of that long grub screw would engage to lock this into whichever position, in or out, that you want it to be in. So over here on the lathe, I'm going to put the tray that's on top of the quick change gearbox back on. So the only reason I haven't screwed this on yet was because I wanted to show the interesting thing about this, that there's an oil hole right here that goes to a tube, and that tube runs down through the casting and lubricates the shaft that goes through here, and that's the shaft that all of this cone of gears seem to be riding on. Well, that oil hole lines up with this right here. So on the tray here, there's this interesting little, it's like a spring-loaded ball that you push in, and it's almost as if you can push this in to let the oil go in, and then when you take the end of the oiler out, that ball comes up, and I guess that's to keep any oil, any dirt or chips or anything from falling into there. And there are a few places on the lathe here that have similar setups to that. I've got clean parts laying all over the place here. This is the guard that goes around those gears that run from the headstock down to the rest of the gear train. These were really dirty and had caked on oil stuck to them. These are the nuts that actually ride inside this groove, and this groove was really dirty. So now that I've got that all cleaned out, I think that will help these run more smoothly in there. Not that it necessarily was a problem to begin with, but what I wanted to show you on here, of course, the cross feed screw cleaned up really well, and there's no major damage on that. I haven't tried the half nut on that yet to see how much play there is. But here on the cross slide, this is really sloppy because I don't have the jib in yet, but on the back of the cross slide, buried underneath all this dirt, there's another one of these little spring-loaded oil holes right here. This was completely clogged with hard-packed dirt and grease, and from the underside also. This hole right here was just packed with garbage. It took a lot of cleaning to get that clean, and now I can squirt fluid through there and it comes out, and that little ball or whatever it is there that is spring loaded seems to be working correctly now. But that's just another oiling point that I'm going to have to definitely try and be aware of. Alright, meanwhile, back on the underside of the headstock, I think if I take these bevel gears out and this dog and this shaft, and if I get all that out, it's going to be a lot easier for me to clean all those parts. And I think I figured out how this works. It looks to me like they've got a special bolt on the end here that's got this big washer like head to it, and I think what happens is that threads into the back of the shaft, and so I think that's what keeps the shaft captive in here. I think if I unscrew this, I think the whole shaft will slide out and those bevel gears will just drop on out. Well, at least these two bevel gears and the dog will drop out. And then as far as this one goes, this might be just held in by the fact that it can't come out with this all in there. We'll find out. Well, that's of course if this unscrews cooperatively. Maybe not. If I can get something to put more leverage on this wrench. Yep, that's it. It's actually just a square head bolt with a washer. Oh my, what's that? Oh, look at that funky key. L-shaped piece of key stock. Interesting. So the short part of the L here is facing out towards this way. So that's going to tell me, and that goes right in this slot right here. So this little slot side on this dog faces towards out here where the shaft is coming out. That dog's got a little bit of damage on it right there. That one too. That's from years of slamming in and slamming out of gear. Alright. That doesn't make sense what I was saying before, because I just realized this gear can't go anywhere because it is inside this part right here. It would have to come out this way, and it can't come out this way because this gear is stopping it. So all unscrewing that did was allow me to take this shaft out. Which, I mean, I'll take the opportunity to clean it, but does that really do much for me? No. Huh. Interesting. So the way this would have to come apart would be this gear would have to come out first. With this gear out, then this would be able to slide out of here. And this gear can't come out unless the shaft it rides on goes out or comes out of here, and it looks like it's got a wide end on it here. So it looks like that would have to come out this way. Question is, what holds that captive to there? Well, it took a couple minutes to clean off all of the caked on dirt and grease on here, because I could see that this was a brass colored part right here, different color. So my thought was maybe that was a collar, but I just cleaned that all off, and let me check the bottom. Actually, I got it upside down, so the top. No, that entire collar does not have a set screw or grub screw anywhere on it to retain it on there. And this part right here that rotates with the actual screw doesn't have any way to grab onto it, visible way to grab onto it, no slot or anything, no flats ground on it to grab it with a hammer. I mean, hammer. Grab it with a wrench. You know, if this was supposed to unscrew, well, then I would expect to see a hole in it to engage, you know, a spanner wrench. And there isn't a hole. Furthermore, even if that wanted to unscrew, it really can't go anywhere because this end of the shaft, this head of the shaft, so to speak, looks like it's wider than, yeah, that's wider than the brass piece behind it. So everything's still pointing to the fact that this would have to come out this way. I am going to probably do the smartest thing, which is to not take these out, just leave them in there and clean them while in there. With the shaft out, I'll be able to clean them a little better than I could have before, so that is somewhat of an improvement. But the point is, I'm not going to start messing around with this, not knowing for sure how it's supposed to come apart and then possibly do some damage. So right now I want to see whether or not I can fit this thing in the parts washer. Well, I think I can fit it in the parts washer, but getting it into the parts washer is going to be difficult. I can lift it up to about, you know, up to my with my hands up to about my knees, or in other words, I can lift it to a few inches off the ground at a time, but lifting it up high enough to get it into the parts washer is a whole nother story. And I was going to use the shop crane, but I realized that even right now, if I hook it up to the shop crane, I'm going to have to do quite a bit of maneuvering to get it so I can rotate the shop crane, because of the long legs on the crane, to get it into the parts washer. Actually, it would probably be easier for me to actually make a path and roll the parts washer, because I have my parts washer on casters. Roll my parts washer into position over here, but I think I'm just going to deal with it with the pan here. The starters, I took up my old punny knife here and I scraped off a huge pile of dirt and debris that was right down in this area here and right there. And now I'm going to hit it with the 3M foaming engine degreaser, which is really good stuff, but it's got really nasty fumes. But I'm thinking of knocking off for the night anyways, because it's about 10 o'clock and I'm going to work tomorrow. So I'll hit it with this stuff and let this stuff soak in, and then come back to it later. Lift with your legs, not your back, ladies and gentlemen. Cleaning that thing in the pan was going to take me a month of Sundays, so I decided to just grin and bear it and get right down to it and get this headstock into the parts cleaner, and it just fits in there, and the hose doesn't reach over this end, so I'm cleaning this basically as far over as I can and rotating it around, and once I get that all clean, I'll flip the whole thing in there and repeat that, and when I get done it's going to be pretty darn clean enough for my purposes. So that's what I'm working on this Sunday morning, cleaning the headstock up, and well, I'm going to get to it. So I don't think I'm going to bother videoing me cleaning this thing anymore, because I think everybody's seen me scrubbing things long enough.